Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the Hunter Wolf Metropolitan Police Force version, which is a Patlabor and Zoids Wild crossover release. We're going to unbox the kit, compare it to other versions of the Hunter Wolf, and check it out in action, and we'll go over the backstory they've come up with for this release as well. Let's take a look.
Robo Shop.
Alright, let's start with the box as usual. We have a very cool illustration here with all these sort of light streaks and sort of city skyline in the back here, the Hunter Wolf in the front, the Patlabor mech in the back. Also here a note that this is apparently for the 35th anniversary of Patlabor, the name here, and it's in 1/35th scale, which I mean of course it's in 1/35th scale, it's a Zoids Wild kit, but I think 1/35th scale is actually what a lot of Patlabor kits are also in, which may actually be the reason why they did this in the first place. Anyway, here on the side we have this really cool illustration, which I hope is showing up in focus, of the Hunter Wolf and the Patlabor mech sort of running side by side. This is just the usual text. And then here we have the gimmicks, which are, of course, you know, the same as the, it's a Hunter Wolf, so the wings move up and the cannon, I assume, here spins. There is, on the back here, we have the weapon stats, and then there's a whole lot of fluff text here, story, which I presume probably says how this Zoid ended up in the Patlabor universe. I'm gonna have to run that through Google Translate for you guys and talk about that later, but for now let's take a look at this kit, which is taped up on the side here for some reason. That's new. To be honest, I suspect that the eBay seller I pre-ordered this from checked the box contents and then taped it up that way, because there's usually not supposed to be tape on the sides here. But anyway, I don't really care. Just surprised because I actually cut the tape where I thought I was going to have to cut it before I started recording. Anyway, we have, of course, a very typical Zoids Wild box here. These are the additional, like the new parts, these translucent pieces here. Here we have caps and mechanical parts and all that kind of stuff. And then we have an A bag and a B bag, and I gotta be honest, this is kind of nostalgic for me now. You know, I don't really feel nostalgic about Zoids Wild. It's only been a few years, and I've been around since the 80s with the OER, but still, it's kind of, haven't done a Zoids Wild review in a hot minute, and it's kind of cool. Anyway, this bag here contains what appears to be just the instructions. Come on. See if there's anything special in here. There's a photo of the Zoid here on the front. This is the stuff from the box. There's the story text again. We have the parts list as usual, and then the building instructions. This all looks very much like, I don't know, it looks like the Hunter Wolf instructions, up to where you have bone mode here. It's probably no different from the original ones. And then we have this, so some of this at least has to be new, because these parts that go on the back here are different, and the head armor, of course. Yeah, and then, you know, it shows the gimmicks. It's really cool that, I mean, this whole booklet is a completely new production just for this kit. And if you've been around for a while, then you know that they don't always do that. Like sometimes they just cheap out and give you like standard instructions with like an additional leaflet or whatever. But this is a completely new instruction booklet specifically for this special edition Zoid. And here's another thing they haven't stopped doing. Wasting plastic. It's an A bag and then an A1 bag, and it's still all in this super thick plastic here. I have never been a fan of it. Oh, by the way, I just took it out of the box without commenting on it. Look, a Zoids Wild gearbox. It has the gear on the top and the rotating pegs on the side, and it's very small and very quiet and technologically superior to the classic Zoids. Sorry, but it's true. And yes, there, I said it. So this is all bone mold stuff, of course. Torso halves, gunmetal. The other one, gunmetal. This has the neck attached to it. This is the piece that moves the legs. Here's its counterpart, and this is the neck and the lower jaw, of course. I'm not being dismissive. I mean, first of all, I've already done reviews, albeit a while ago, of the Hunter Wolf and the Gatling Fox. So I've seen all of this before. And also, you know, there's not that many parts to look at because Zoids Wild is, of course, squarely aimed at kits, and it's all about the simplicity, which, contrary to what some people think, is actually a good thing. So, this is the head, and this is some sort of linkage piece that can't remember what that does. Here's this. Oh, this is the power switch. Goes on here like so. And then we have another one of those head pieces. I should probably say skull pieces, actually. This is the tail, which I still think looks like a fern leaf. This is one of the legs. Lots of piston detail. Unfortunately not pre-painted. Because... which kit was that? Something I reviewed recently came with pre-painted pistons. Oh yeah, of course, the AZ kits. That would have been nice, but it's also not the end of the world that they're not pre-painted, especially if you want to actually paint this yourself. It's actually better if it's not pre-painted, because then you don't have to strip the paint off first. There's a small little mechanical piece that goes on top of something. And another leg. And then we have, drum roll, we have gold parts. I also just noticed this is actually pre-cut here, so you don't need a knife to open it. Again, because kits. This appears to be the cannon that goes on the back. And this is a pretty okay gold, I would say. I mean, this is really kind of down to personal taste as well. Plus, I'm very much afraid it's not going to show up the way it actually looks in real life on camera. So whatever it is you're seeing on your screen is probably not what this really looks like. I mean, it's just metallic gold plastic, right? But I've seen a lot of ugly metallic gold plastic in my time, and I complain about it in every video. This is actually pretty good. Looks very shiny too. Like from a distance you'd almost think it's plated, but it's not. Okay, here is another baggie. I think this is the more interesting stuff. Oh wow, there's some loose pieces in here. Interesting. Now why would you do that? Oh, okay, okay. I see what they did. I see what they did. See, these parts are all pre-painted, and these are the parts that are not pre-painted, so they just put these in the B bag. This looks like its head, by the way, but it's actually a wing. In case you were wondering what I was just thinking, because I'm stupid. This is just, yeah, it's just straight up plain white. Of course, to match the Patlabor design, this is like fur basically that goes on the front. And this is, looks like one of those things that go on the like on the front of the chest. Now, more importantly and somewhat more interestingly, let's take a look at these pre-painted parts. If I can figure out how I'm supposed to rip this, because it is eminently rippable. Right, here we go. These all have sort of this glossy black paint on it. This is 100, oh no, look here, it's slightly off from the edge here. Let's see the other one. Yeah, here it's not quite lined up with the edge, but at the top where you can actually see it, it is, so that's good. Tail. And then head armor. And more head armor. And these two pieces. And this is, it seems like nothing fancy, but I have a funny feeling that this is going to make a huge difference in terms of the overall appearance of the Zoid, because these kinds of color separation pieces always, they just add a lot of sort of perceived detail. Now, I'm just blathering because I can't figure out how to open this back, because apparently I'm not as smart as the 70-year-olds that this is designed for. Okay, so this has the caps, which are rubber, but miraculously are a perfect color match for the gold parts. So that's cool. And then we have, I'm not going to get all this stuff out of here, but these are the eyes, which are green and which are in a little baggie. You probably also won't see them when it's done. Here's everyone's favorite thing about Zoids Wild, which is the pilot of the jockey variety. Make your own fart joke. And finally, we have the sticker sheet, which says, you know, police. I'm gonna have to check what this says because it's Japanese. And has these stripes here. Not a lot, but completely bespoke sticker sheet just for this kit. Very cool. And finally, C seems to be the bag with all of the entirely new parts, which includes this. Oh, it's a little police badge. Nice. And oh, well, you can see this. I'm not taking it out of the back because it's like 3 millimeters apart. I don't want to lose it. And then we have these pieces here that I assume go on the back. And also we have, to round things out, we have this visor here, which is, I think this is probably where the police badge goes. So we have this visor, which is not 100% perfect color match with the black painted sections, as it's probably intended to be. But that's all right. I always think it's a bit weird when they have like a part that's just completely painted. They do that sometimes to match collars, so that's all right. The visor is actually one of my favorite things about the appearance of this Zoid overall. It goes here on the front, and then you don't see the eyes anymore. And there's the badge. Goes here on the front, and then you don't see the eyes anymore. And it just, I don't know, it just looks a lot cooler. This is also kind of, you know, the thing that makes this look like Patlabor, sorry. I knew I was going to mispronounce it one time in this video. And here, this is where these stickers go, right? And just gives it, you know, overall the appearance of how should I put this? A mutated cop car. Okay, now you know what's next. I'm going to get this thing put together and then we're going to check it out in the photo booth. Alright, let's see it walk first. Nothing new here, of course. We know what a hunter wolf walks like. One thing I'll say is that while it's not a problem in regular mode, you can see here in blast mode that the added weight of the clear parts on the wings seems to cause balance issues in blast mode. It still walks, but it looks a bit awkward. Now let's do those comparisons. Here's the original Hunter Wolf in all its garbage bag blue glory. Now for me personally, my least favorite thing about Zoids Wild has always been the eyes, and so in all honesty, just the presence of the visor means I like the Patlabor version better. Here's the Hunter Wolf Kai, and yeah, I think I still like this one better. All that collar separation just gives it a far more detailed appearance, and it doesn't have the goofy Zoids Wild eyes, and also it has Gatling guns. Gonna have to give it to the Kai here. Now, before I give you my final thoughts on the model, I've used Google Translate and a bit of stylistic license to come up with the best translation I can give you of the backstory for this crossover. You know, for those of you who don't intend to buy it and just figure it out for yourselves, it goes like this. Origin. Udonejima, a small island with a circumference of about 3.5 kilometers between Nijima and Toshima in the Izu Islands, became uninhabited in the late Meiji period. The Soito shrine on this island is a mysterious shrine for an unknown deity, and it is also not known when it was constructed. In 2023, the shrine is investigated and a mysterious sphere is discovered buried under the dilapidated shrine. The sphere has considerably more mass than expected based on its appearance, and it is confirmed that a reaction of some kind is taking place inside of it. The investigation is no longer within the scope of religion or history, and the sphere is thus entrusted to a research institution for physical science. On the day of the transfer, the sphere shows a violent reaction and renders all surrounding observation equipment unusable. Encounter. Shortly afterwards, a pod drops on Ichidone Island. It was sent from planet Z and contains the parts that make the sphere, a Zoid core, a Zoid. Thus, the sphere becomes a Zoid. Furthermore, several Zoids fly to Tokyo, the #1 city of Japan, along with the pod, and so begins a gentle symbiosis between humans and Zoids. Zoids District. Initially, there is a tug of war between the Tokyo metropolitan government and the national government regarding the treatment of Zoids. The national government wants to place Zoids under the jurisdiction of the self-defense forces, but the Tokyo metropolitan government insists that the Metropolitan Police Department manage the Zoids because they were discovered in Nijima village in Tokyo. By this time, it has become widely known that Zoids are intelligent and not hostile to humans, and ultimately the Tokyo metropolitan government seizes the right to oversee them, supported by public opinion that Zoids should not be converted into weapons. As a result, a special Zoids district is created in Okutama. Since the Okutama branch of the Metropolitan Police Department Security Bureau Special Vehicle Division 2 is located nearby, the task of ensuring the safety of the nearby residents and the Zoids is left to them. Furthermore, since Rebels and Zoids are compatible, Zoids are actively trained using Rebels, and Zoids are later assigned to the self-defense forces. 2030X. The symbiosis between humans and Zoids reaches a stable period. However, just as there are military dolphins, there are also organizations researching the military use of Zoids and smuggling them to conflict zones around the world. This is the story of the battle between such organizations, humans, Labors, and Zoids. So, you know, basically a Zoids core dropped in the Patlabor universe, and then some other Zoids showed up because, and now they have Zoids, and they don't use them as weapons, but also they kinda do. The bit at the end about the illicit use of Zoids in foreign war zones potentially sounds like an idea for a really cool anime actually, it's just too bad it'll never happen. Anyway, I like this release. It looks really cool, and unlike other special and limited releases from Takara Tomy, like the entire biographies line, it was pretty easy to come by and not super expensive. A lot of care has obviously gone into every aspect of this, from the box art to the pre-painted parts and special stickers and the amusing backstory they've created just for this one Zoid. It just doesn't have that cheap cash grab feel to it that these types of releases sometimes have. At the same time though, I mean, this is still a hunter wolf, and if you're like me and you're generally not the biggest fan of canine Zoids, or you just don't like Zoids Wild in general, this thing isn't going to change your mind. So if you like the idea of a Patlabor and Zoids crossover and you like the way this looks, I can assure you that this is a quality release that won't make you feel like you've been ripped off. But if you didn't care when you heard about this, well, there's nothing I can tell you to change your mind either. Well, and that's it for this one. I've got the 2 Monster Hunter releases and the HMM Gaisak coming up next, and I'm going to try to get those videos out at 2-week intervals, so hopefully we'll see a bit more regular updates for a while. If any of that interests you and you'd like to see more, obviously you should subscribe to my channel, and I also have Patreon and PayPal links in the description if you'd like to help me with my Zoids budget. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.